I've got a question for you. So the question is this. Why can't, so to me, it seems like, so I go to London Bridge Station a lot. So in the centre of London, it's one of the busiest stations. There's hundreds of people coming at you from all directions. So from my point of view, it looks like when everybody's walking, they're walking with a purpose, and they're just cracking along and being able to walk through a crowd like anybody else. So for me, I find that nearly impossible when there's a whole load of people straight in front of me. I do not know which way to go. I'm looking left and I'm looking right, and I cannot figure out how to walk through that crowd easily. Why is that?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So what you're describing there is probably one of the most complicated visual tasks that we do
as human beings, right? Because you've got all the worst bits of making it complicated. You've got lots of things to appreciate. You've got lots of movement. All the movement is completely different because they're all going in different directions and doing strange things. You've got to judge distance away from stuff, and often it's bright and the lighting conditions are variable. So that it's a really complicated visual task to navigate your way through crowds. People with nystagmus, interestingly, I often find this with parents of young kids, when they're really the youngest ones, often the first things they start to notice about their kids having something extra with their vision. They may have noticed the nystagmus, but in terms of actually it affecting them, often the first thing they notice is recognising faces in a crowded room, and we often use this as an example. So when mums and dads go and pick up their child from school, and there's 20 mums and dads, and the children are running in front looking for their mum and dad, and they might only be a couple of metres away, and you know full well they can see you from that far away, but they just take forever to find you. And that's because that is a complicated scene where they've got to scan around, find the face they're looking for, and then go there. So when you add into that movement, imagine all those parents were moving around like this, milling around, and the child had to actually navigate their way through. It's just the complexity of that is absolutely huge. So I think it's all of the typical things that make it hard to see, and it's kind of the worst scenario, if you like, for someone with albinism and nystagmus, because your acuity is lower, your acuity is variable depending on light. Often the light's gone a bit is variable in these places. You've got movement, you've got distance to judge, all of that stuff, and all those things are a problem for people with albinism. So yeah, it's a really interesting observation. It's almost like the adult equivalent of that thing, as I said, that we often describe as one of the first things parents notice for kids with nystagmus. And it's not necessarily albinism specific, I don't think, but with the added bits of albinism that your train station thing is, yeah, a bit of a nightmare visual scenario, isn't it?
It is, but I have a top tip for it.
Cool.
What you do is you either get yourself a long cane, because people get the heck out of your way, or you get a guide dog, and then the C's part, and then literally people fall over themselves because they're really trying to get out of your way. And you can just walk in a straight line, and it's easy peasy.
The other thing I remember somebody mentioning years ago, which sounds ridiculous now because it's so obvious, but at the time it wasn't, and that was having problems at train platforms where all the train times are written on these big boards that you have to try and stand close to, etc. And he just said, take a picture with your camera, zoom in, and then look at it on your. And I remember at the time that I think the room clapped, and it was kind of revolutionary, but it's just become so normal now, hasn't it? As a tip and trick, and hopefully more of these things will come along as technology gets better as well. Technology or dog or cane, right?
Yeah, totally. But I think it's quite quote normal for people to take. I think like people with normal vision do that kind of thing too, though, don't they? Take pictures of things and look. So you don't even look like you're some weird stalker doing that, because everyone's doing it all the time.
Yeah, no, that's true. It's kind of been normalised. I just remember it feeling like a real revelation. It's like, wow, why have we never thought of this before? But it's just so normal now because of the technology.
Back in the day when I was a kid, I'd have to use like a telescope, monocular.
Yeah.
I did not want to be getting that out in public, so then I just didn't know stuff because there was no phone to take a picture of it. So
no, and that's really not going to help with the teenage wanting to minimise everything, is it? Getting a telescope out in public.
No. If you've got anything else you want us to discuss or any burning questions you want us to answer, then please put it in the comments below.
And if you could press some of those buttons at the bottom, the heart ones, the thumb ones, whatever they are, apparently that's good to get people to see these videos. So please do that.